After extensive research, the leadership team has found 5 proven change models that may be used to produce effective change within your schools. And these models include the Bridges Transition Model, 8-step change model, force field analysis, change management model, and a change curve model. And since you all know your areas of concern and staff better than anyone, we leave it up to you to decide which model best suits your needs. Now, these 5 models will give you options and are all considered effective change models. So first we'll begin with the transition model. It was created by William Bridges, and you can find it in his book Managing Transitions. Basically, it guides people through change. The first step of that would allow you to help people bring closure to what used to be, the loss and letting go of that, helping them deal with fear, denial. The model also talks about anger, sadness, disorientation, frustration, uncertainty, and of course, a sense of loss. And really, the action for guiding people through this change is to communicate openly with them and often, and to listen to those concerns that they have, because they are valid concerns. It is their perspective, and everyone will bring their own perspective to it, but it's important that we listen to that and effectively communicate in ways that are meaningful. The next stage to this model is the neutral zone, and it can often bring about resentments towards the change initiative or low morale and low productivity, which we're actually seeing right now, and anxiety about their role or status or identity in the school, and then skepticism over the change. It's just so easy to go there, to become negative about these types of changes. But what we have to do is we have to help people get past that. And so the action for that is really to encourage people to try to think in new ways. We ask our students to do that every day. And so I don't think that it is totally out of the realm to ask our teachers to do the same. Uh, Providing a solid sense of direction, team goals, and talking about feelings and giving feedback on performance. Of course, we all know how important feedback is, and setting short-term goals and quick wins is key to getting through this second stage, which is considered a neutral zone. And then 3, of course, is a new beginning, and hopefully we'll see some high energy happening there with an openness to learning and a renewed commitment to the role of teachers in the school. And of course, the action there is to sustain that momentum by managing by objectives and maybe highlighting success stories. Of course, celebrating the change and rewarding your teams. And I know you all have reward programs in place, as well as the reward programs that the district has. And you are welcome to use those reward programs to help foster the positive change that they have made, and to help it continue as we move forward. So the second model is Cotter's 8-step change model. And Mr. Cotter is known worldwide as a change expert. He teaches at Harvard Business School, and his 1995 book, Leading Change, first introduced this 8-step change process. So the 8 steps include creating an urgency for change, forming a powerful coalition, creating a vision for change. And we all know how important vision is. Also, removing any obstacles that might be in your way, creating short-term wins, and building on the change. Finally, anchoring the change in the culture. And so it's very important, Mr. Cotter says, to follow these steps 1 through 8 in a sequential manner and not try to rush through any of them. And so his book is quite detailed on how you can walk through each of those steps. So option 3 is called the force field analysis, and I like this as a tool to identify forces that will work for you or against you, and also if the plan is a good plan. So it analyzes the pressures for and against change. It was developed by Kurt Lewin, and he created this model in the 1940s. Basically, it allows you to answer questions like what business benefit will the change deliver? Who supports the change? You want to find out who's on your side and who is going to go out there and champion this change for you. Who's against it? Why they're against it? And that may help identify those who um, you would need to work with in a different way. Try and remove those blocks. And how easy is this going to be? Is it going to be hard? Probably, but you can certainly help identify that with the force field analysis. And do you have enough time? Well, we do have time, but of course, if you think about Cotter's 8 steps, we want to try and move this along quickly. So, providing you with the resources and your teachers the resources to make this work is going to be critical too. So, this will help you identify what resources you need, what costs are involved, and also what other business processes will be affected by the change. So, are there any risks involved? Of course, we always have risks, but this force field analysis can help you. Basically, you identify forces for the change, forces against the change, and give those forces on both sides, for change and against change, a numeric value, 1 being weak, 5 being strong, and then you can line up your forces against and for change, add them all up, and see if your forces for change are stronger than your forces against change. If you have a higher number on the forces against change, you're going to need some uh, serious consideration on which model you're going to use to actually hang your change on. So the models allow you a framework for which you can work through these changes. Lewin is a pretty smart guy. He actually came up with a change management model. It also has 3 stages, similar to the first one we talked about. And in the 1940s, he developed this model known as the unfreeze, change, refreeze model. It's similar to taking an ice cube. And so in the unfreeze stage, you would thaw that ice cube. So if it's square, it then becomes liquid, allows you to change, and then to refreeze that change maybe in a different way, or in a different model, in a different, what's the word I'm looking for? uh, Form. And so you start off with the square ice cube. You thought you have water where the change happens, and then you refreeze it maybe in a diamond shape ice cube. The only concern I have with this is that we are experiencing so much change lately that it gives the impression that change is over once we have refrozen um, the environment, so to speak, and it's embedded into the culture. So I would say be cautious with this one because we all know that things change so quickly. So stability is not always based on status quo. It is often based on the ability to continually change. So I would express my caution with this particular model. because we don't want to lead individuals to think that once the change is over, it's over. We're not going to change anything. We're always going to be wanting to improve and continually grow. So, unfreezing allows you to determine the change need, survey the status quo, understand your need for change, ensure strong support of upper management, and of course, you all know you have my utmost support in these areas. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking to you about this change now. And to really stay open to employee concerns and their emotions, I would add. I would add to that. So, stage two, the change itself, when the environment is in a liquid form, so to speak, we want to plan that change. Involve everyone to the best of your ability in describing the benefits and explaining the effects of the change, and really preparing everyone for that change. Dispelling rumors. We all know that those run through the schools rampantly. So we want to deal with problems immediately and look for change back to operational, always relate change back to the necessity of change. Empower action. Provide lots of opportunity for employee involvement and have line managers provide day to day direction. So your team leads should definitely be able to answer questions as we go and involve people in the process. I think really we can't say that enough. So the refreeze stage, stage three, really anchors that change into the culture and identifies what supports the change and barriers to sustaining that change. And I know that moving forward, if you need to provide support or training, that's available, and that really is going to help root the change into the culture. So the final model is the change curve, and it's really about identifying where your people are at. So the change curve starts here and maybe dips down as we get into the third step of two of the other models. The water step where we're actually changing, and then we want to bring people back up to normalize this change. And so Elizabeth Kubler-Ross developed this. She developed it out of her work as a psychiatrist in grief and bereavement counseling, and it's about personal transition. And we know that change affects everybody differently, but certainly this model will allow us to identify what stages people are at and to try and help move them through these different stages. So anyway, those are the 5 models. As I said, the first one was Bridges' transition model, Cotter's 8-step change model, the force field analysis, and of course Lewin's change management model with the 3 steps and the change curve, another good tool. So thank you for your time and have a great week.